Boys and girls, it's the one and only Adam Colbebe, and right now you're watching Remember Wrestling.
As wrestling fans, we've been lucky enough to see plenty of dream matches over the years, but we still can't help but think about the ones that got away. Hogan vs. Rock was amazing, but could Hogan vs. Austin have been even better? Alas, we never got to find out, which could actually be better than one alternative. The match being announced, but then cancelled and ultimately not happening. That's what we're talking about today. Matches that were given match graphics and confirmed to be taking place, only to fall apart and never be rescheduled. This is Remember Wrestling, and these are 10 wrestling matches that were officially announced but never took place. Number 10, Sister Abigail vs. The Demon, TLC 2017. Wow, what a place to start. We'd already seen Finn Balor vs. Bray Wyatt on pay-per-view twice in 2017, but we never saw Balor lock horns with Sister Abigail. Luckily, both men were saved from monumental embarrassments when a case of mumps ruled Bray's lady friend out of the match. AJ Styles took Wyatt's place, and the two former Bullet Club leaders had a predictably great match. Can you imagine what this thing would have been? Think the House of Horrors, except with two spooky boys and none of the ironic charm. Number 9, CM Punk vs. Kevin Nash, Night of Champions 2011. Put aside the weirdness of the storyline, and on paper, a CM Punk Kevin Nash feud actually seems pretty interesting, at least on the microphone. However, it happened way too far beyond Diesel's prime for a potential match to be what it could have been. In any event, the match was ultimately scrapped due to Nash's heart issues. Triple H replaced his click buddy and beat Punk in a chaotic main event. Number 8, CM Punk vs. Chris Benoit, Vengeance 2007. After Bobby Lashley vacated the ECW Championship, a tournament was held to crown a new champion. This was due to culminate between Punk and Benoit at Vengeance Night of Champions. Benoit did not appear on this show for reasons that have become infamous in pro wrestling. He was replaced by Johnny Nitro, who beat Punk to win the title, kickstarting a rivalry that would last for much of 2007. Number 7, Brock Lesnar vs. Bray Wyatt, Roadblock 2016. This is the first appearance of Brock Lesnar on this list. It's not going to be the last. Lesnar and Wyatt came face to face in the 2016 Royal Rumble after Brock had already wiped out the rest of his Wyatt family. They came back once their leader arrived to eliminate Brock from the match, making a WrestleMania 32 showdown seemingly an inevitability. However, the match was shifted to the pre-Mania Roadblock show once a program with Dean Ambrose caught fire for the Beast. On the day of the show, the match was then changed to a 2-on-1 handicap match with the late great Luke Harper added to the fray. Wyatt, who was apparently carrying an injury, did little more than watch on as Lesnar decimated the future TNT champ in 4 minutes. This one could still happen with both men currently in the company, but the chances appear slim. Number 6, Brock Lesnar vs. Jinder Mahal, Survivor Series 2017. Oh boy. Of the 4 champion versus champion matches at this show, 3 of them saw changes to their original lineup. Bliss vs. Natalya became Bliss vs. Flair. Usos vs. Shield became Usos vs. Bar, but this is by far the most notable one. Paul Heyman absolutely buried Jinder in the lead up to this match, which was ultimately nixed because Brock apparently had no interest in wrestling the Maharaja. This spelled doom for Mahal's title run, and the match became Lesnar vs. Styles. The closest Jinder ever got to Brock was a Raw segment in the lead up to the next year's Survivor Series, when he and the Singh brothers were crushed in truly glorious fashion. Interestingly, Brock's Survivor Series 2018 match was also changed late, with an AJ rematch becoming Brock vs. Bryan following the American Dragon's title win. Number 5, Alexa Bliss vs. Trish Stratus, Evolution. I was actually really looking forward to this one, which makes it sting even more that apparently it was never the true plan. Alexa had been getting comparisons to Trish for years, and it wasn't hard to see why. 2 charismatic blondes, who were the best part of the tag act they managed, who eventually broke out and became superstar multi-time champions. However, the match was simply a vehicle to announce the actual match, a tag match between Trish and Lita, and Alexa and Mickie James. Ironically, that match didn't happen either, as issues with concussions saw Bliss replaced with Alicia Fox. Now that Trish is back on Raw, the door isn't fully closed for this one, but it all depends on if the Hall of Famer is still around once Alexa comes back from maternity leave. Number 4, The Elite vs. the Inner Circle Blood and Guts, AW Dynamite, March 25th, 2020. It was to be the biggest match in Dynamite's history to that point, and there was much to be excited for. Infighting among the Elite, Jericho's hot new faction, and the sheer curiosity of what War Games could be in a spot-heavy and TV-14 environment, particularly with its creator's son involved. Sadly, 2 weeks before it was scheduled to take place, the pandemic brought everything to a screeching halt, not just wrestling. As a result, the stipulation was shelved for over a year. Cody effectively split from the Elite following the cancellation, and now all 10 men involved are way too far apart for the match to ever come together again. Number 3. Steve Austin vs Brock Lesnar, Raw, June 10, 2002. Probably the most famous cancellation on the list, this King of the Ring qualifier has become famous in wrestling lore as the match that drove Austin to take his ball and go home. The Rattlesnake was due to wrestle the next big thing, but didn't like the fact that such a big match was being given away with no build whatsoever. The bout was ultimately scrapped and is now seemingly lost forever. A showdown between the two for WrestleMania 32 was teased by Paul Heyman on the Stone Cold podcast in 2015, but it didn't come to fruition. Considering what both men went on to do at that WrestleMania, it sure does seem like a missed opportunity. Number 2. Becky Lynch vs Ronda Rousey, twice. It is baffling to me that this match has never happened. Becky and Rhonda were first matched up for Survivor Series 2018. The last kicker had gone supersonic since becoming the man, and the match was built masterfully by her blistering Twitter game. However, just 6 days out, the match fell apart in the blink of Lynch's black eye. Oddly, this was the best thing to ever happen to it, as Becky's fire remained undimmed by not having to eat an inevitable loss at the pay-per-view. The match was rescheduled as the first female WrestleMania main event for the Raw Women's title, but 2 months of schizophrenic booking later, it had become a triple threat with Charlotte Flair for both the Raw and SmackDown titles. With Rhonda potentially on her way out of the company soon, there is a real danger that this dream match could end up never happening. And even if it does, it'll probably be unable to reclimb the mountain of hype it had scaled before Vince McMahon started messing with it. Number 1. Steve Austin vs Triple H vs The Rock, Survivor Series 1999. In terms of pure star power, this match takes some topping. Arguably the 3 biggest stars of the Attitude Era, in the main event of a Big 4 pay-per-view, fighting for the world title with Vince McMahon as the referee. However, Austin was written out of the match and the WWF to go get neck surgery after being hit by a car backstage. He was replaced in the match by The Big Show, who pinned the game to win the title. Bizarrely, as far as my research goes, this match ended up never happening at all in any capacity, even on a dark match or at a house show, which is absolutely nuts to think about. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. If there's any I missed, let me know in the comments below.